Hey guys, this is Chris with Rekkid Talk. So I'm here to do a contest entry. This contest is for Angel. His channel is called Shamgar75. He's a pretty new channel, doesn't have a lot of eyes on his channel yet, so you may want to check him out. I'll link him up in the description, of course. And basically, his contest is around the idea of sports franchises. So you would spell out the letters of your favorite sports team. So, for example, I could spell out Cubs for Chicago Cubs or Bears for Chicago Bears. But thinking a lot about Chicago sports teams is kind of depressing, so we're not going to do that. We're going to do football instead, and we're going to represent Liverpool, LFC. So that would be my favorite team in the English Premier League. And so, why do I support Liverpool rather than some sort of proper lower league or non-league shite squad like Yeovil Town or Oldham Athletic, which would be like the real indie rock team to follow, rather than Liverpool, which is one of the biggest clubs? Well, I picked them for a pretty shallow reason. The very first Premier League football game I ever watched on TV at some point back in the 1990s was a game Liverpool versus Manchester United. United's one of the other big teams. Them and Liverpool have a big rivalry. And I noticed that there was this arrogant French guy named Eric Cantona playing for Manchester United. He was a douche. I took an instant disliking to him. So I decided I'll support the other team, Liverpool. And so I've kind of run with Liverpool as my English Premier League team to follow ever since. And so I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm not going to spell out Liverpool. You'll see what I'm going to do here, but I hope this is sort of at least in the spirit of your contest, Angel. So we will start with the letter L, L for Liverpool. And so, of course, when you think of Liverpool, you think of Yoko Ono, but you also think of John Lennon. And so, of course, John Lennon was in this group from the 1960s called the Beatles, and they were based out of Liverpool. And my understanding is, you might be wondering why I didn't pick one of the other members of the Beatles. Well, Paul McCartney is an Everton fan. That blue team, the other team, they're complete crap. We're not going to support them. Apparently, Ringo Starr was actually an Arsenal fan. Apparently, his dad took him to Arsenal games. And somebody asked George Harrison about football, which side did he support? He said he supported the third side in Liverpool. There's no third team. So I think George didn't care about football. I don't think John cared all that much either, but he's apparently the most likely to be a Liverpool fan out of the Beatles. And his name also, conveniently, his last name begins with the letter L. But of course, the best Liverpool band, of course, is Echo and the Bunnymen. E for Echo. There's no B in Liverpool. There is an E. I skipped the I and the V. The only Echo and the Bunnymen I have is this compilation, Songs to Learn and Sing. So that's what I'm choosing to show here. And then I'm going to kind of deviate. I'm not really going to spell out. There was a lot of letters and they were kind of inconvenient. Another famous musician who might be a Liverpool fan. I've read conflicting reports, but Elvis Costello. So this is Elvis Costello and the Attractions with the Armed Forces album from 1978. I don't know which side you like better of this. Apparently his parents were from Liverpool. Supposedly his dad was an Everton fan, but I've read that Elvis is a Liverpool fan, but maybe not. And then I decided I would kind of go with some countries that are represented by Liverpool players from the present or past. Oh, before I do that, you might notice I have sort of the old school Liverpool shirt here. I'm not advertising a bank. I'm not advertising beer. And most of your other teams in the Premier League either support are the businesses of super wealthy Arab sheiks, or if it's a crap team, then it's some dodgy online sports book. But I've got the plain old school version of the jersey, which I think is better. Okay, so now that we got that digression out of the way, Liverpool has had a lot of Scottish players on their side over um, the years. So King Kenny Dalglish, Graham Souness, he's a dirty bastard, but he played for them. Alan Hansen. On the current squad, and Scotland's doing well in European qualifiers right now, is the left back Andy Robertson. So let's show you some Jesus and Mary chain. I chose to show Darklands from 1987 for the purposes of this. I know some of you might have preferred it if I showed a more proper hard rock band from the 1970s, like Nazareth. So you can imagine some Nazareth playing while Graham Souness was going studs in to tackle somebody and not getting sent off, because you could do that sort of stuff back then. Now, many of your Scousers, your Liverpudlians, are Irish or Welsh. So, of course, we have cool Irish bands like the Pogues. We have cool Welsh bands like the Manic Street Preachers. Even have the British price tag on there. I paid considerably less than £12.99 for that. But of course, modern Premier League teams are basically worldwide all-star teams. You'll have players from all over the world, South America, Africa, etc. And so, of course, the nation of Senegal gives us the O in Liverpool, stands for Orchestra Baobab, Senegalese band. Sadio Mane, I know he went away last year, but he was a big part of the side that won the Premier League a few years ago, won a Champions League. And, of course, I couldn't show an O band like Oasis. That would be like a Manchester City thing. I'm definitely not doing a Manchester City video. So there's some Orchestra Baobab, specialist in all styles. I would have liked to have shown an Egyptian band for this to represent Mohamed Salah, but I don't have any Egyptian artists in my collection. I wasn't going to be cheesy and show like Jonathan Richman with Egyptian reggae, or the Bengals with Walk Like an Egyptian. So let's move on to Brazil. Of course, Roberto Firmino, Bobby Firmino, who's just left the team. The current goalkeeper, Becker, Allison Becker, and so they're representing the nation of Brazil. And so Gets Gilberto, João Gilberto. I don't know, you can't have much more of a Portuguese Brazilian name than João. And of course, we know that Astrid Gilberto, who of course is so well known for singing the girl from Ipanema, very recently passed away. So Gets Gilberto, representing probably the most popular bossa nova album ever. Another country that's currently represented on the Liverpool side are players from the Netherlands, Dutch players like Virgil van Dijk, like Cody Gakpo, and they're probably too young, but they might like Betty Savirt. So this is like your early 90s. It's a Dutch band that sounds like sort of your New England, Boston area alternative bands. They were on Matador Records. And so cool songs like Kids Alright and Pelamine from Betty Savirt, which has a sports connection as well. Apparently that stands for Betty Served, after the Dutch tennis player Betty Stova. And of course, you can't have a proper Liverpool music-related video without, it's a cliche, but they'll sing You Never Walk Alone by that Merseyside band, Jerry and the Pacemakers. So this is something they always sing at Anfield. The famous stand where the hardcore Liverpool supporters will be. YNWA, You'll Never Walk Alone. And so there's my entry for Angel at Shamgar 75. You've got to like mid-July to do this. You can pick your favorite sports team, or If you don't like sports, figure out something.